Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy, do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughened him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their court.
The fireworks are not done.
Now we're getting commentary on the case.
This is the next search on February 28, 2020. 7:44 p.m. How does the FBI find people? And people is misspelled P-E-O-O-P-L-E. Did the defendant find out how the FBI finds people in this case? Oh, she found out.
All right, welcome back from lunch. It is good to have you here. Hello. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and you are here in the Court of Public Opinion. Welcome. Hopefully you're all well fed, ready for a good day of court, at least a good half day.
Alex stole it as well.
Alex stole it. Paula says, I don't have sound, it's only me. Oh no. Paula, check the mute button. Can you hear me? Check the mute button. Somebody tell her to check the mute button. Turn the volume up on the YouTube slider. Make sure it's not muted on your computer. All those things. I'd hate for you to miss this. It's gonna be a fun day. We're gonna have a cough counter go up, up, up today. That's just a prediction. Just a prediction. But before Paula said that, let's see. Oh, let's get all the way up here. I think we're getting weird echoes. But I think Britta. Did you win the internet this afternoon, Britta? Were you first in chat? Am I mistaken there? Was there somebody else? Yes, it looks like it was you, Britta. Congratulations being first in chat. It wasn't that message, but it was another one just like it that won the internet for you. So congratulations. Everything IP related is now yours to take care of. Basically, you get all the duties, but none of the benefits. Sorry. But you were first in chat, so it's your own fault. We appreciate you doing it. Somebody has to do it. Every single day, somebody has to be first in chat. So we appreciate you stepping up to the plate and saying, I'll take this one for the team.
Paw prints don't know where my human is.
Let's see. That sounds like Rebecca, or at least Rebecca's pet, Buttercup. So Buttercup, thanks for sending the super chat and for typing out your comment as well with your paws. That is just impressive. See, we have a Lacey Spano says 3 months. I love you guys. Hope you're all well. Lacey, I hope you're doing well as well. I will tell you, I worked through lunch, but not on what you think. I worked through lunch because I'm trying to put together. Oops, that's not what I need. I need that right over here. This here. That on. I think we're good. Okay. I worked through lunch, not on the Airbnb. No, but I'm trying to make an image, a graphical representation of the family tree that's at play here in this case, in the Michael Turney case, because it's a little convoluted, conflated, all the words. It's all the words. It's very confusing, is what it is. We have multiple families, a blended family in every sense of the word, and so I'm going to. Ryan Applesnapple, I love this channel. So glad I came across his image. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that. Looking forward to have you in court if that manages to be a go. Ryan is actually hometown is not far from this courthouse, so it would be awesome to get him in court and get his take on things. Anyway, I'm trying to put together this image, and I'm working on it. And because
kick back, taking it easy.
Thank you. And because I am the esteemed, renowned, classically trained artist that I am. I'm resorting to using stick figures to use the drawings, and so I've got this on my screen. I'm not sure you're not going to be able to see it yet because it's all small and it's tiny. Stick figures they just don't show up very well. But I'm building this graphical representation of the actual chart, which we do have the actual chart thanks to let's see, thanks to Tipsy Tracy. She sent me the breakdown, the text version, and Tipsy Tracy actually is, I believe, said that she was a professional genealogist. So putting families together and drawing the connections and saying who's related to who and how, this is where Tipsy Tracy shines. And so she's put together this document, which I'm going to show you once we get this all put together. But I want to have my text-based version because it also, instead of just, this is more than just like the back of a minivan where you stick the little vinyl stickers that show how many people are in your family and the genders. I want to take my artwork to the next level where you can look at this and see not just who and how they're related, but sort of how the story developed as well. So we have most of it put together. I've got a little bit more to do. I'm working with the labels. That's about it. But I'm super, super excited about this. Mostly about this little part right here because you can see we're going to have that guy in here. So that's part of the story, and you can guess who that applies to. Anyway, we've got we're going to get this all set up. It's going to be awesome. Lacey Spano gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Lacey. That is awesome. Let's see who received that. Let me scroll up just a wee bit. Oh my goodness, or down. Did I miss it? Let's see. I cannot find it, Lacey. Where did it go? Oh, right there. Bad Juju, Veda Worship, Thomas, Jim Bob, and Kenneth White all gifted memberships courtesy of Lacey. Thank you, Lacey, and congratulations to the winners. Also, we have Linda James comes in loving this channel so much. Thank you, Linda. Thank you so much for being here. It would not be the same without you. I appreciate you and your continued support. All of you. You're wonderful. It's a chicken. No, it's not a chicken. It's a guinea. It's clearly a guinea, Ginger. Anyway, it does look a little bit like that. It's sort of like a monster. It's a shadow monster. Yeah, I'll tell you right now that this is my representation of Michael Turney, and I might be a little bit biased in how I'm presenting this, but I think it's I think it's fair and accurate. And this is my personal opinion. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and get this built. If I have a little bit of downtime, I might be able to share this with you soon. And what I need actually is I need somebody who can make those whiteboard drawings where they're like the hand draws. I think they're animated. I don't think it's actually somebody's hand that draws it, but it like scrolls through the story and tells it one piece at a time on the screen, and then you can zoom out and see all the picture, and it's great. So I need to find whatever app or tool is that makes that and put this picture together and have it built. But we've got. I guess I could show it to you now if. No, it's not quite ready. It's not quite ready. I can't do it. The trial is live. What? No, not yet. Give me just 1 second. There we go. Whew. Okay, so they're going live. Let's listen in.
In addition to what I've already said, I believe that it
hold
corroborates
here.
the nature of their relationship. Okay. I mean, he can talk about. I agree with you. He could talk about the conversation.
That's a problem.
But it just seems to me it's better to play it. So
okay.
There we go. There's our counter.
At this time, I'm going to Mr. Jackson, I don't know that you formally said it, but you're asking to preclude that exhibit. Which do we have it marked?
It has not been marked. We were just in the process of.
We're only getting one side of the audio.
Okay. So
let me see if I can
it
fix
would
that
be
here.
marked as exhibit number.
It is Hump Day, Thomas. Thank you. We did the shout this
102.
morning. It was brilliant. It was wonderful.
So the court will grant the state's motion to preclude at this moment.
Defense.
The defense motion to preclude at this moment. Mr. Imbordino, if you feel as though a door has been opened during cross and you believe it's now admissible, you can certainly ask to approach and we can revisit the issue. But
see if we can fix the audio here. Just
until there is some challenge as to Mr. Lakeman's descriptions of the nature of the relationship and things that they talked about, the court finds that it's not admissible. Anything else we can talk about before we bring the jury in?
So something just got excluded, and it's my fault. I was talking over it. I was talking stick figures.
That's what the different witness.
Okay. Judge, defense might have some motions with the next witness, but we can address that at a later time.
Well, do we think that'll be this morning?
He'll get started this morning.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we have at least a few minutes now. Any reason why we can't talk about it now?
Yeah, really. We've got time right this moment.
There is a letter. I'm trying to see if Are you not in, I don't see that. Are you still intending to try to play that letter that you emailed us last night? The letter to...
Counsel, I don't think the court reporter can hear you.
Just asking him a question. Please, the chief.
No.
The judge is just like, I can't hear you. He's like, I wasn't talking to you.
Gave you is a letter that they wrote to him.
Yeah, but last night you texted or emailed and said you planned on doing that. Are you not? Okay. Then we don't have an issue with that. The only other issue is there is a conversation between Mike Sr. and Mike Jr. in regards to Mike and or John taking Alyssa in, adopting her, or like giving up his custodial rights. We don't object to a lot of what's in there. I believe it is relevant, but there is mention of molest, and there's things in there, and we don't have a redacted version of that. I don't know if they're planning on trying to get into all of it. We would object to any mention of the molest allegations and different stuff like that.
Okay.
It seems to me the solution to that would have been for them to tell me what they wanted to redact. But number two, I'm happy to redact anything that the court believes is necessary. So perhaps you could review this exhibit.
First, let's have defense review it and identify what they want to redact, and then you'll look at their requests, and if you disagree with them, then I'll step in, but it sounds as though you two are capable of resolving this on your own.
Probably so, yes.
All right, that would be my preference.
Well, Judge, we can review that over lunch then, and then address it. Maybe we can come back early and address it before then.
Sounds reasonable to me.
Thank you.
They say over lunch because this is just beginning the day for them.
Okay. And is the next witness in the courtroom?
He's not in there yet, but he's outside.
You can bring him in if you'd like, and Angela, you can bring the jury in.
All right, so they've got the preliminary business out of the way. We're going to go ahead and start with the trial now. Oh, little sneeze there from the court recorder. Bless you. Bless you. Why can't they speak of the alleged essay? Because it's been excluded. The judge has ruled in preliminary hearings.
Sir, if you want to just sort of
that it's
wait,
not allowed.
Sir, if you want to just sort of wait where
Bring
you
the
are, as
jury.
soon as we get the jury seated, we'll bring you forward.
Okay, we're having some audio issues. I'm going to see if we can fix this. Little tissue there for the court reporter. It's prejudicial instead of probative. I think the state is trying to insinuate that without sort of coming out and saying it, that this was the case, that the defendant was guilty of this. Empty courtroom. Okay, I'm working on my labels here. Hang on. Here comes the jury.
Please be seated.
40 a month? Free? 40 for a month?
We are back on the record in State versus Turney. Let the record show the presence of counsel, the defendant, and the jury. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Great to see you back this morning. Thank you so much for making it back on time. The state may call its next witness.
Okay.
Jonathan Lockman, Jonathan Lockman.
Please raise your right hand. You do solemnly swear the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Sir, if you'll please take a walk up that ramp and then have a seat on the witness stand here to my right.
They've got the
And you'll
Zoom
see a little
window
black
open.
microphone there. If you can just make sure that you're speaking into that, you can adjust it as needed. Mr. Imbordino, whenever you're ready, you may proceed with your direct examination of the witness.
All right. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Oh, we need the coffee
Can
counter.
you please tell
There it is.
the jury your name?
Jonathan Lockman.
And how do you spell your last name?
Laakman.
I suppose I should have asked you to spell Jonathan as well, but
Jonathan.
thank you. Mr. Lockman, how old are you, sir?
38 years old.
Are you employed?
I am.
What kind of work do you do?
We do project management for commercial doors and hardware.
All righty. Have you, were you born and raised in the Valley?
No, I've been here most of my life, though. I was born in Southern California.
Okay, well, I'm sorry about that. But how long have you lived in Arizona?
Since 1993.
Only getting left channel audio.
Do you remember having met a young woman by the name of Alyssa Turney?
Yes, sir.
Where did you meet her?
I met her in my junior year of high school at Paradise Valley.
Were you both juniors?
Yes.
When you say you met her your junior year, do you have any, I know it's been a long time ago, but do you have a recollection of approximately when during the year you first met?
It would have been in the beginning of the year. I believe it was the first semester.
All righty. And what were the circumstances of your meeting her?
We had a class together. We had a group project to work on. We had gone to somebody's house that was in part of that group, and her and I had gotten closer at that time.
All righty. So in the beginning, was it simply the relationship classmates? In other words, did it change?
Yeah, a little bit. We were friendly in the classroom. When we had this group event at this person's house, something transpired between two of the other people, and somebody was asked to leave the house on foot, go home. I took it upon myself to go stop, give that person a ride home. I think she was fond of me after that.
Okay. At some point, before I get there. So you're both juniors. Do you have classes together?
Just the one.
Which one was that? Do you recall?
American history.
And so during the school year, during the school day, would there be occasions when the two of you would run into each other?
We would see each other before school started, and then she would come into one or more of my classes throughout the day, kind of just sneak in and say hi.
Okay. I haven't been in high school in so long. I mean, was it like a lunch break?
Yes, but I don't remember participating in lunch from my junior and senior years.
Okay. And when you said you might see her before school started, do you recall what time your classes began?
I believe it was 7:30.
And how did you get to school?
That time I was driving.
Do you have any recollection of when, an approximate time that the relationship changed to a dating relationship?
It was pretty fast. And we knew of each other, or we spent time in class together, and then that one incident kind of brought us together, and that was official.
All right. So when you would see her away from school, what kinds of things would you do?
Mostly we would just drive around, go window shopping, go eat, just sit and talk. We had a couple places we would go and just look at the scenery.
All righty. How long, so there's been some testimony that Alyssa was reported missing on May 17th of 2001. Did your relationship, your dating relationship with her, was it still a dating relationship when she went missing?
Absolutely.
Did you ever visit her home?
Yes.
Did you ever meet her father?
Yes,
You see him in the courtroom today?
I do.
Where is he sitting, please?
It's on my left over here.
Okay. What's he wearing today?
Blue coat and a headset.
Thank you. How many times did you visit the house?
A few dozen times over the course of 9 months or so.
I'm guessing they interacted.
All right. And how would you get to her home?
I would drive there.
Now, do you know whether or not Alyssa had a car to drive?
There was a vehicle there, I think, that was earmarked for her, but I don't know its condition, and I don't know that she ever did drive it.
Did you ever observe her to drive?
No.
Did you ever go on any outing with that would have included Alyssa, Sarah, the defendant, and perhaps some of her brothers?
Yes.
And do you have any recollection of the approximate time that would have happened?
I don't. I could tell you the weather was good. We were outdoors during the day. It wasn't terribly hot. The location I couldn't pinpoint. It was just a pretty remote desert area, and we went out to for paintballing.
All righty. Did you ever do anything else with her family?
Her and her sister and I, possibly one or both of her brothers, had gone bowling one night.
Now, was there a prom that you attended with Alyssa?
Yes.
So if assume for me that she was reported missing on May 17th, 2001, do you have a recollection of when the prom took place in relationship to May 17th?
Couldn't have been more than a couple weeks prior. It was right towards the end of that school year.
And where was the prom?
That's a tough one. A big hotel of some kind, a grand resort. That's all I can remember.
All right. Did you get dressed up?
I did.
I have a photograph here to show you. It's Exhibit 81. See, tell me if you recognize it.
I do.
So is that you on the left?
It is.
Alrighty. And who is that on the right?
That's Alyssa.
Now, I'm going to move it up just a little bit.
The necklace.
Do you see the directing your attention to that necklace around her neck? Do you recognize that?
I do. I do.
How do you recognize it?
I had bought that for her.
Okay. Special occasion, a gift.
Welcome, 13 jurors. Thanks for the rating.
So
we're counting coughs from the prosecutor.
Had you seen her wear it on occasions other than the night you went to the prom?
I think she wore it all the time. I don't remember seeing her without it.
The necklace was left. She didn't take it with her, which is surprising.
Exhibit 85 in evidence. I'm only showing this to you to see if, first of all, do you see Alyssa in this picture?
Yes.
Do you see her sister, Sarah?
Yes.
Do you recognize either of the, assume that they've been identified as two of her brothers. Are these brothers that you met?
Not leading at all.
I believe so. They don't strike me as familiar. I didn't meet them more than 2 or 3 times, maybe.
All right. During the course of your relationship with Alyssa, did you meet any of her girlfriends?
I don't know that they were just like her best friends, but just other people from our school that she would pal around with.
All righty. So do you remember any of the names?
Off the top of my head, I don't.
How old were you when you and Alyssa first started dating?
16.
Let me show you Exhibit 83. Do you recognize either of the two young ladies on the other side of Alyssa?
Those are friends.
I don't, but I feel like I've seen this picture before.
I think we've seen that picture before, too.
Now, how did you find out? Well, first of all, did anybody tell you or notify you that Alyssa was missing?
When I left work that night, I had a message, a voicemail from Michael Turney saying she was missing or questioning if I knew where she was or if she was with me.
Did you ever go to her home after having received that message?
Not straight away. It would have been a few days after.
Okay.
Whoa, how many was that? 3?
Thank you.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Amy. Appreciate that. Loads of new members here. Congratulations to all those gifted members, and thank you so much for the donations.
Do you remember what you did when you got there to the house a few days later?
I just remember, just being with Mike, trying to figure out what happened or, what's going on, and him kind of showing me, here's this, here's that, here's what I think happened, and we're trying to figure it out.
Okay. Well, what did do you remember what he told you? Here's what I think happened.
Well, he showed me a letter, told me that she had written a letter saying she was running away, she was not happy, walked me through her bedroom, showed me what was in there. I had questioned something about some camera equipment or some sort of surveillancing. He showed me in his bedroom where there was a small TV monitor. Said that only is working for the outside camera that's on the patio or something like that.
Okay.
Ooh, he lied. He filmed.
Did you ever observe a surveillance camera located in the carport?
I knew it existed. I don't know that I saw it with my eyes.
And how did you know it existed?
Because Alyssa had told me.
Did the defendant tell you that there was this camera in the carport?
He did, yeah, because he had showed me the monitor that was recording on.
Were you aware that there was a surveillance camera in a air conditioning vent located in the living room?
Not until Detective Summershoe had notified me later.
So at the time that you knew Alyssa, you were not aware that there was such a camera?
No.
And the defendant didn't tell you about that camera? Is
Correct.
that what I understand?
Correct.
Amos, thank you so much. Another 5 gifted memberships. It's raining memberships in here. Thank you, all your generous donations. You guys are
Had Alyssa anytime prior to May 17th confided in you that she was planning on running away anywhere, California or anywhere else?
No.
Objection calls for hearsay.
Overruled. The answer may stand.
Do you recall any argument that you might have had with Alyssa at the home after the defendant told you something in front of her?
Yes.
Do you remember when that happened?
Don't remember when.
Did it happen? Well, let me see. So assume her birthday was in early April. You've already told us when you recall the prom taking place, approximately. Was it before or after the prom?
I can't recall.
Did you, after that argument, did you and Alyssa continue to see one another?
Yes.
What was it that prompted the argument?
That her stepfather, had told me he had witnessed her with another boy, and I was jealous of whatever it was and trying to figure out what her side of the story was.
Alrighty. And so at some point, did you leave the house?
I did.
And did you drive away?
I did.
Now, assume for me that we have watched a video, surveillance video. You can hear tires squealing in the background. Do you think that might have been you?
It was.
So when you drove away, you were angry.
Yes.
But did you and Alyssa mend fences, so to speak?
Yes.
Now, explain to us the last day of school, May 17th. Do you recall whether it was, first let me ask you, normally a regular school day for you, when would it end?
Around noon in the middle of the day.
And why was yours ending so early?
Our school had block classes. You could leave early in your juniors or senior years.
I don't know what that means, block classes. So
it would just come, instead of a 45-minute class, it's a 90-minute class. I'm not sure the way it all works out, but you could have a late arrival or an early dismissal as a junior and senior.
And what was Alyssa's typical school schedule?
She was in school all day.
Which would mean it would end about what time?
I think 2:30, 3 o'clock, somewhere around there.
Now, on May 17th, did you see Alyssa at school?
I did.
Did you see her before class started?
Yes.
Did you have any discussion maybe about what you were going to do that day or the next day?
No.
Did she describe to you any plans that she had?
No.
So at some point, that was before class started?
Correct.
Okay. Did you see her later that day?
I did.
You recall about what time?
Somewhere around 11 a.m.
And where did you see her?
She came into my classroom to tell me she was leaving.
Okay. Did she tell you who she was leaving with?
With her stepdad.
Did she tell you where they were going?
She did not.
Did you ever see Alyssa Turney again?
Ever.
Have you ever heard her voice again?
No.
There's so many coughs, I can't tell who's whose. How many have I missed? Thank you, Polly Prissy Pants. So good to have you here.
I asked you about the surveillance camera in the carport. Do you recall there being a door that entered the kitchen area of the home from the carport?
Yes.
How many times would you say you were at that house?
30 or 40 times.
And when you would go to that house, how would you get into the house and how would you leave the house?
Always through that door.
The door in the carport.
Correct.
Can you describe, were you ever in Alyssa's bedroom?
Yes.
Can you describe it for us just generally? What do you remember about her bedroom?
Standard bedroom, small window to the front of the house, sliding closet doors.
Okay. Did Alyssa have a cell phone?
I don't know.
Did you have a cell phone?
I did, but only just to carry with me to work or something. Was not, nobody had that number besides my parents or her or very few limited people.
Well, did you ever communicate with Sarah on the phone? I mean, with Alyssa on the phone?
Mostly on the house phone. I don't know. I can't recall talking to her on my cell phone.
The prosecutor clears his throat a lot.
When you went into did you say that the defendant took you into his bedroom?
Counting that.
Correct.
On the day that you went over there after you found out she was missing?
Correct.
And what is it that he showed you?
A TV monitor.
And could you see on the monitor, was it showing you views of what a camera was looking at, if you remember?
I don't recall.
Did he ever discuss with you the fact that phone calls were being recorded?
No.
Just a moment.
Let's see what he comes. So this is the boyfriend of Alyssa. Alyssa is the daughter who went missing. The stepfather, Michael Turney, is on trial for her murder, even though there's been no evidence that she's dead that we've heard of at all. Completely circumstantial case. This is more than a 20-year cold case. Let's see, Ashley, you can hear Aria, but not the court. What's happening is you're only hearing the right channel of audio, and that's because we're only getting the left channel from the court. They occasionally change the setup in there, and today, unfortunately, I'm not able to fix that. I normally would, but my computer that normally fixes it is not wanting to play nice. Her sister did fight hard for justice. Sister has podcast channels, has been very active on social media. I think in addition to TikTok, she made a website looking for help, trying to raise attention to her missing sister just weeks after she went missing. And what's interesting is, let's see, what's interesting is, thank you, Brandy. It's all these people, all these witnesses talked to the police back in 2008 when they finally got the police to look into this, like 7 years after she went missing. And now they're testifying and saying they think something's different than what they had said originally.
Just another question about that. So he showed you the monitor.
Thank you, Brandy.
And did he show you how he operated it?
I don't think so.
Did he tell you why he had such a monitoring surveillance system?
I'm sure he had some reason for it, but I don't recall.
That's all the questions I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Imbordino. Mr. Jackson, any cross-examination?
I think I'm about ready for my great debut.
I just want to ask you a few questions, kind of about your relationship with Alyssa.
Okay.
You were pretty jealous?
Maybe at 16 years old, I think everybody is.
You guys had a few fights, and most of them were over your jealousy, correct? That's what you told the detective?
Yes.
I want to ask you about Alyssa working. Do you know about how long she worked for?
I don't remember if she had the job before we started dating, but I believe she was working most of the time I knew her.
Okay. Now, obviously, I think you said that at some point during that first semester, you guys started dating, correct? Does December 1st kind of ring a bell as May 1st being your 6-month anniversary, around the time of prom?
That
seems about right.
About right, yeah.
And you believe she was working at that time, correct?
Correct.
And I want to ask you about, were you ever with her when she collected paychecks?
I don't have a strong memory of it.
Were you aware if she ever had a bank account?
I don't recall.
Do you remember telling the detective when you were interviewed that you did not believe she had a bank account and that she would cash her checks?
I don't recall.
And that she would keep her money in her purse?
I do not recall that.
So she might have had her money with her?
Now, you said you were unaware of whether she had a cell phone?
Correct.
So you don't remember communicating with her on that cell phone?
No.
On the day that Alyssa ran away,
Objection.
I haven't heard the question yet.
Assumes facts not.
On the day that Alyssa left the runaway note, you were at work, you believed?
Correct.
And you believe you received a call, you had a missed call from the home phone?
I don't know where the call came from, but the message was on my cell phone.
So you actually had a voice message?
Correct.
And when you got out of work, you listened to that voice message?
Correct.
And it was Michael telling you that Alyssa had ran away, or asking you if you knew where she was?
Could have been just, hey, this is Mike, give me a call, I need to talk to you. I don't remember the context of the message.
Okay. But at some point you did call him back?
Immediately.
And you guys had a discussion?
Yes.
Do you know how long that discussion lasted?
I don't.
5, 10 minutes, or was it
5 minutes?
Brief? Okay. And in that conversation, he told you that she left a runaway note?
I don't know if that's when I knew about the note.
Okay. But you knew that she had ran away?
I knew that she was not at home.
Okay. Did he ask you where, if she was with you?
He did.
And you told him?
She was not.
Okay. And then you came over to the house. Did you come over to the house that night?
I don't think so.
Okay. At some point you did come over to the house, correct?
Correct.
And
graphic ready.
You actually took the necklace back that you gave her, correct?
Correct.
Where was that necklace?
On a nightstand next to her bed.
Okay. And so you took that. Did you tell anyone you were taking it?
I don't think so.
Do you know when that was?
Just in the few days after she went missing.
Okay. Now, you had more conversations with Michael as days passed, correct?
Correct.
And at some point, he actually gave you a phone number, correct?
He did.
And what did you do with that number?
I called it many times.
Who did you believe that number to be?
It's supposed to have been an aunt in California.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
You called that number, you left messages?
I did.
Anybody ever contact you back?
No.
Now, at some point, did you actually see the note that was left?
I did.
Do you know when that was?
It would have been the day I went to the house to meet with Michael and talk about it.
Okay. And you remember saying in an interview that it looked like her handwriting and it sounded like her.
Yes.
All you guys came from Brandy's
You were
channel.
asked
You're hilarious.
on direct about whether she had ever talked about running away. Do you remember that question?
Yes.
And your answer was?
No.
But she told you on other occasions that she didn't want to live with her dad, correct?
Correct.
Now, you talked about the incident where you and Alyssa got into an argument. She threw the phone. You were confronting her about cheating on you, correct?
Correct.
And you don't really remember when that was?
I don't.
Do you remember if it was before or after prom?
I believe it was before.
Okay. Did she ever admit to you that she was cheating?
She did not.
Did you think she was cheating on you?
No.
In any of your arguments that you had with Alyssa, have you ever grabbed her violently?
No.
Now, in regards to the conversation you had with the detectives.
Thank you, Woody.
And a bank account. Do you remember them asking you that question?
Yes.
But you don't remember what your answer was?
I believe I told him I didn't know about a bank account.
You said you didn't think so, correct?
Right, correct.
And that you believe she cashed her checks at Jack in the Box, actually.
I thought so, yeah.
And she would keep her money in her purse.
Correct.
So you never went with her to a bank to cash checks, correct?
Not that I can remember.
And you guys, did you spend every weekend together?
Yes.
You didn't, there wasn't times that she went out on her own?
I can't recall.
Are you aware of an incident in May or April where she had a boy over at the house and they were making out?
No.
No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Imbordino, any redirect?
I do, but I think we need to approach.
You want to be on the record?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I've upped it to 1 because you get that 1 cup. Approach. Here's our sidebar. For those who came over from Brandy's channel, here's our sidebar. If this takes long enough, I want to show you something. Let's see. I think it's going to be on channel 7, 6, 8. Where is it? Can't find it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. It helps if I plug the end of the... I guess both ends of the cable need to be plugged in for things to work. I'm learning new things every day. But this is an HDMI cable. I just dropped, knocking things off my table. I need it plugged in over here for you guys to be able to see what I'm talking about. So 1 second. Okay, now we're coming in on, I think it's 7. There we go.
Counsel asked you if
I'll get to it as soon as
you were aware of a bank account. You said you weren't. He asked you if you ever observed Alyssa cash checks and keep money in her purse. I think your answer was, I never saw her cash checks. Did she carry a purse?
Not typically.
Did you see her with cash?
Sometimes, not an overwhelming amount of cash.
Okay, when you say overwhelming amount, what do you mean?
She wasn't walking around with thousands of dollars.
Okay. Where would she keep it?
Pockets that I can remember.
Did she have a backpack? Do you recall?
For school, I don't know if, outside of school, if she carried a backpack. I can't remember.
All righty.
Welcome, Linda. All 13 addicts. Appreciate you guys for being here. Brandy's channel is the best. You guys are not wrong. If they're done here, the jury has an opportunity to
Maybe
ask
I don't
questions.
need to, but just to clarify something. So the necklace that you've described to us that you gave to Alyssa for her birthday, you told us that she wore it constantly, correct? And so when you took the necklace, this was after she had been reported missing, correct? When you went over to the house after you'd been notified by the defendant that he couldn't find Alyssa.
Correct.
And it was in her bedroom.
Yes.
And it was on the table next to the bed.
Yes.
And you took the necklace.
I did.
Did you keep the necklace?
For a while, yes.
Okay. Why did you take it?
It was my memory of her. It's something that I could reclaim and hold on to.
All right. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Let's see if the jury has any questions here.
Yeah.
No objection.
Thank you, sir. You may be excused.
No questions from the jury. So this is
And
boyfriend
the state may call its next witness.
of the victim, I guess, in this case. Ooh, look at that.
Stu.
Water ASMR. That was so kind of him to do that for us. You might have to get Brandy on here if she doesn't have a case to cover. Might have to bring her on somehow. Okay, let me tease you just a little bit. Tease you with what is going to be coming up with my chart that I've made to describe how the family works and the relationships in this family.
Give the clerk
and who
your
is
name, and she'll swear you in.
Stuart Sorshu, S-T-U-A-R-T, S-O-N-E-R-S-H.
showing you all sorts of pictures.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Sir, if you'll please take a walk up the ramp and have a seat on the witness stand here to my right. Mr. Bordino, you may proceed with your direct examination of the witness whenever you're ready.
Thank you. I'm going to let him, Your Honor, he's got a laptop that contains his police reports, so I'm going to let him, if you don't mind, get set up for just a moment.
This is, what day of court is this? And this is the first police witness we have. Red pen. Why do you think a kid made that chart? I was the only one who worked on that. That is the best my abilities have to offer.
If he's looking at or referring to it, that he lets us know that he's looking at it.
We'll go back to the chart in just a minute. We'll explain it. We may get some real evidence here. He's firing up the old mainframe computer.
Could you introduce yourself to the jury, please?
My name is Stuart Sorshu.
Are you recently retired from the Phoenix Police Department?
Yes, I retired in December of last year.
But are you reemployed?
I work part-time for the National Criminal Justice Training Center. I teach missing person material throughout the United States. I also volunteer with Team Adam, which is through the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
Let's talk about your career as a police officer. When did you first become a police officer?
I joined the Phoenix Police Department in 1996.
And did you your retirement date, was that this year?
December of 2022.
So I would assume you attended the police academy.
Yes.
And
going out on a limb there.
What would have been your first duties as a police officer?
I was assigned as a patrol officer for about the first 10 years of my career.
Did you work any particular area of the valley?
I started in Central City Precinct, which is kind of the downtown area. And then after that, I went up to Cactus Park Precinct, which is area of like 35th Avenue and Cactus. I was there for a year, then came back to Central City Precinct.
In the course of those 10 years, did you respond to any crime scenes where violence had been committed?
Yes, many of them.
Can you describe for us the kind of situations that you encountered?
It covered the gambit from homicides, shootings, aggravated assaults, sexual assaults, accidents, pretty much everything, every bad thing, I went to.
Okay. As a patrol officer, did you ever have occasion to respond to a missing persons report?
Yes, that was a fairly common call we would go to.
And when you say fairly common, what do you mean?
Almost every shift there would be a missing juvenile, missing person report that would come in.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I should have limited it to, and if we use the term juvenile here today, what would the age range be?
Under 18.
So if a person, is there a difference between a missing persons report and a runaway report for police officers?
I mean, they're all missing juvenile reports, but they can be classified or subtitled as a runaway juvenile. So a runaway juvenile is someone who's willfully left their home, and there's evidence that they have gone on their own free will. Whereas a missing juvenile report, there may not be an explanation for the disappearance.
When did you, at some point in your career, did you were you assigned to a missing persons unit?
Yes, in December 2007, I became a missing person detective for the city of Phoenix.
So for the first 10 years, you're a patrol officer. Where did you go after that?
That was the rest of my career, so about 15 years I spent as a missing person detective.
And describe for these folks, what did you do every day?
We received, it varied year to year, but on average about 7,000 missing juvenile reports a year.
That is a lot.
So I was one of a squad of detectives that handled those, and they would be assigned alphabetically by the missing person's last name. So in the 15 years I was there, I probably handled 10,000 missing juvenile reports.
So, if an individual, let's say a parent makes a phone call to the Phoenix Police Department to say, my child has run away or my child is missing, I don't know where they are, what's their first contact?
Well, I mean, the report is filed through a police officer. It could be by phone or it could be in person. The officer takes the initial report. The missing person or missing juvenile gets entered into NCIC immediately. And I didn't ask my question very well, I don't think. They call in. So where does their call get routed? It comes through our 911 dispatch, and then it would be assigned to a dispatcher to, send an officer out, or there is a callback center that would take sometimes reports by phone.
In this particular case, did you review the records?
Yes.
How was the initial notification made?
It was taken by a callback officer.
It has its moments.
Would they prepare a report?
Yes.
And did they prepare a report?
They did.
What do those reports typically contain?
It contains a description of the missing person, the reporting party, basic details of the disappearance, any facts provided by the reporting party, any unusual circumstances, any information they provide.
He's so soft-spoken.
Would it include a description of the child?
Yeah, it would include, eye color, hair color, height, weight, any distinguishing features like scars or tattoos, that sort of thing.
Date of birth?
Yes.
Now, I think you may have mentioned this earlier. Once that report is taken, is there any sort of national database that information is put into?
Yeah, when somebody's reported missing to law enforcement, they are put into the NCIC, which is the National Crime Information Center. Basically, that's a database that all law enforcement uses. If they query somebody's name, it places an alert on that person's name, date of birth, so they will be informed that the person is missing.
In this particular case, did you become aware that the initial date of birth was incorrect?
Yes, in the initial report it's incorrect, but it was correctly entered into NCIC.
All right. So let me just ask you a couple of questions about NCIC. So let's say that individual who's been reported missing is involved in an incident in California or New York or Florida or wherever, and a local police officer has their name, date of birth, that sort of information. Assuming they check then am I understanding you to say that they would be alerted that this person has been reported missing?
Yeah, they would receive a notification either through their dispatch or through their mobile data computer that the person is reported missing. Also, NCIC will then alert the agency that filed the missing person report that, hey, this person's name was queried. The algorithm also allows for date of birth hits or sound-alikes.
What do you mean by sound-alikes?
If a similar name was ran,
different spellings, Stephen
it would
versus
come up
Stephen.
as a possible match to your missing
Stephen
person.
versus Stephen.
And then what would, let's say you got that notification, what would you then do?
You would look at it, see if it is the missing person. If there needs to be follow-up, to contact that agency, say, hey, did you contact this missing person? But it depends on how common the name is. If you have somebody named John Smith, you're going to get a lot of those coming in.
Okay. What would the, okay. In the course of your years in the missing persons unit, did you ever receive such notifications?
Yes, every day.
So let's assume that you got enough information that caused you to do further investigation to see if this actually was the missing persons. How would you go about doing that?
Well, I mean, if we believed it was a valid query on our missing person, we would contact that agency. Typically, most agencies, when they contact a missing person, especially a missing juvenile, they will complete a report and notify. They'll send a teletype to us saying, hey, we had contact with this missing person. So then we would reach out. What was the circumstances? What happened to this person? What were they, what they were doing? If it's juvenile, they would be taken into custody. An adult, it's more of a check welfare situation.
Once you began working on an individual case of a missing juvenile, what would you normally do? Let's say you had been notified of this particular report that Alyssa Turney had allegedly run away, left a note that had come to your attention.
Typically for missing juvenile reports, we do a lot of research on the person because we're trying to understand why they went missing, why they disappeared. So obviously we do background checks through our databases to see if their name is queried, if they've been involved in any other police incidents. We would do searches through social media, try to identify any accounts that are associated with them. After that, once we establish all the information is correct and entered, we would typically we would reach out to family. In the absence of not having the missing person that we could talk to, we want to try to gather as much information about the missing person. So we would talk to their family, we would talk to their parents, siblings, distant relatives, aunts, uncles, grandparents. We would ask friends, romantic interests, coworkers, classmates. What we're trying to do is establish a life pattern to see if this disappearance is explainable. Have they ever run away before? Do they have medical issues? Are they suicidal? Is there something going on that would explain this disappearance?
Let me interrupt you just for a moment. In reviewing the case file in this case, the kinds of things you just described, were they done in 2001?
There's not much documentation. The detective back then wasn't really documenting what was being done, so I don't know.
Okay. So it wasn't done, was it done the way you would have done it?
No, I would have handled this differently.
Who was that detective?
Detective Schoenfelder.
Is he retired now or no longer working for the department?
Yes, he's retired.
So the prosecutor you're hearing ask questions now.
Would you have
we call
gone to the residence?
Yeah, that's something we often do. We would like to go to where the missing juvenile lives. see their room. You know, we're looking for, again, information that will give us insight into who they are and what is motivating this disappearance. So we would look for diaries, journals, anything that would indicate, you know, what their life is, what their life pattern is, and what's going on, who they're associating with. If there's a cell phone, we would like to look at that. Again, social media. Back in 2001, that wasn't really an issue, but nowadays it's more of an issue, and that gives you a lot of insight into somebody because people, you know, put a lot of their personal information, their personal activity onto their social media.
A few moments ago, you were giving some examples of how you would go about investigating a missing persons case. And I just want to ask you to go into a little more detail for these folks who might not be familiar with some of the ways in which you go about doing that. So, entering them into the NCIC database is not the only thing you do.
Yes, there's other databases. There's a database called NamUs, which is the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System. That came into place in 2007. It's a database for missing persons and unidentified remains that are in the United States. We also do media outreach. We utilize the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. NCMEC is its acronym. And they are a organization started by John Walsh in the 90s. They work closely with law enforcement. They have a national media platform, so they'll create bulletins. They have access to a lot of databases to check records and things like that. I mean, we are also making checks with Social Security Administration to see whether a person's used their Social Security. We're checking financial records, telephone records, that sort of thing.
So what's an offline search?
An offline search is, so if you were stopped by the police or you're part of an investigation and they query your name. So if you're in a traffic stop and the officer goes back to his car, typically he's running a criminal records check through NCIC. So that gets logged with the FBI CJIS. And so they maintain a record of any query of a person, vehicle, it could be serial numbers, that sort of thing.
Sir, if you could do me a favor, get a little closer to the microphone.
Stop slouching.
Serial numbers of a gun or a stolen item or something like that. And they can go back and check those back to 1990.
In 2001, were those offline searches available?
Yes.
And you said you would typically check with Social Security Administration. Was the department provided a Social Security number for Alyssa?
Yes.
Now,
that was 4 coughs in one question.
When were you first assigned to this investigation?
September of 2008.
And would you have had a sergeant in charge of that unit?
Yes, Sergeant Brian Chapman was my supervisor.
So would he have assigned the case to you?
He approached me with a case and said it was going to get assigned to Detective Anderson, but that I would be assisting him.
All right. So both you and Detective Anderson began working on it in, did you say 2007?
2008.
2008, I'm sorry.
I want to break so I can show you this chart. It's
when
got
you
some good stuff in it.
Got assigned the case, then what sort of documents did you have to review, if any?
I reviewed the case file, which contained a number of, the basic report and the supplements, and it contained some letters from Michael Turney within it. And there was flyers from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and basic parts of the investigation.
I need to remake my chart really quickly. Apparently lost all his paperwork on the ground or something. I'm going to have to update it with coughs and ferrets. But this is like a work in progress. And I think I'm going to use like Doodly or something to make a video out of this. We'll have a video explaining the family tree, which is the branches are many and in strange places. So we'll get there. This May 17th, 2001, Michelle, is when Alyssa Turney disappeared and has not been seen since. This detective they're questioning right now began on the case in.
You mentioned a moment ago that in reviewing the case file that you observed some documents, communications. I think you said from the defendant to the police department.
Yes.
Did you observe a letter from the defendant expressing his appreciation for Detective Schoenfelder and Sergeant Bob White?
Yes.
May I approach?
You may.
As he approaches and shows him that letter, let me just say this Gandalf, we call him Gandalf, the attorney that just walked up to the witness. It's my understanding that he's been barred from practicing law in the state of Texas. That Texas will never again allow him to be a lawyer in their state. So that's just a fun fact.
Yes, this is the letter that was in the case file.
Too many coughs. They have a cough limit in Texas.
The admission of Exhibit 111.
He's exceeded it, apparently.
Any objection from the defense?
1 second, Your Honor.
It's true because he stopped paying Texas State Attorney membership dues.
Exhibit 111 is admitted.
Weather Watch, by the way, is in Texas. Thank you for the update. Appreciate
Angela
that,
will need
Thomas.
the visualizer.
Gailey May, thank you as well. Texas is serious about their money. Yeah, you got to pay your dues. It's hard to tell with just one channel of audio, but I don't think that was the prosecutor that was coughing there.
For the record, I'm displaying Exhibit 111, two-page letter. There are numbers at the bottom, 001900, 001901. You recognized this letter, correct?
Yes.
And Detective Schoenfelder, again, was whom?
He was the original detective assigned to the case.
Who would Sergeant Bob White have been?
He was a missing person sergeant at the time.
When you and Detective Anderson were assigned the investigation and reviewed the case file, did you observe any information contained in the case file as to whether or not Alyssa had been seen by anyone, heard from by anyone since May 17th of 2001?
No, there was no trace of her after that.
Were you made aware of the defendant reporting having received a phone call from California?
Yes.
And that call, in this particular letter, he's referencing his attempts to obtain information from where that call came from, what the number was, correct?
Yes.
We're going to go into the family relationships just in a minute. It'll make a little more
sense.
sense.
Was there any sort of recording of such a call in the case file?
No.
Let me ask you to assume, I don't remember the exhibit number, it's in evidence. At some point, did you see the original and or a copy of a note reportedly left by Alyssa in her bedroom on May 17th?
Yes.
Was the note in the case file?
A copy of it was.
Not the original?
No.
Did you ever obtain the original?
Yes.
When did you obtain the original?
December 2008.
Did you do any, the types of searches that you have described to us that you would typically do for someone like Alyssa, the offline search, the ways you would go about trying to find any information about her, did you do that when you were assigned the case?
Yes, we did a complete search for Alyssa through our criminal databases, the national databases through the FBI, also through information sources that, there's companies out there that collect information about people through applications of jobs, of financial records, things like that. So there was no trace of her after May 17th.
And has that been done? I mean, do you just do it once?
No, we repeatedly do it. And again, NCIC, she's listed in NCIC, so any query by her name prompts a notification to us and a notification to the querying agency.
So has the Phoenix Police Department ever received any information about Alyssa being seen, heard, found since May 17th?
No.
Any record of her having a job anywhere?
No, her Social Security number was only used for the Jack in the Box job and hasn't been used since.
When you and Detective Anderson were assigned the case, did you make an effort to contact Michael Turney?
No, he actually had named Sarah as the family contact and indicated he didn't want contact.
Did you contact Sarah?
I don't think you will.
Detective Anderson did, yes.
Did you ever meet Michael Turney?
I did.
And do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes, he's seated at the defense table wearing a blue suit.
When did you first meet him in person?
I met him, I believe, in September of 2008 when Detective Anderson and Detective Bruhal and I went to the house on a meeting to look at Alyssa's possessions.
How was that meeting arranged?
Through Sarah.
So you go to the house now, and did you realize that by that point in time, the defendant and Sarah had moved across the street?
Yes.
From the original house where Alyssa was living?
Yes.
So you show up at the door. What happens?
We are invited into like the entryway, and there is a plastic tub there, and we are told that that's what's left of Alyssa's possessions, and that we can look through it.
Were you expecting more?
Yeah, we had brought a truck and 3 detectives in anticipation that we'd have a large, lot of evidence to pick up and go through.
Why were you under that impression?
Detective Anderson was told that was
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained.
So it wasn't a communication that you had received personally?
No.
In any event, you get this, there's a tub. Like what size?
I don't know what the dimensions were, but basically a large box, maybe 2 feet by 2 feet, plastic, kind of plastic tote you would get out of Walmart, that sort of thing.
There's
what
Walmart
was that
again?
There were Alyssa's yearbooks, a few items, toy items and things like that. Not really that much.
Were you provided any surveillance videos?
Yes, surveillance videos were provided to us.
At that time?
I'm not quite sure if it was that particular visit. I believe there was one provided at that time.
And did you watch the video?
Yes.
What was that particular surveillance video?
Well, I mean, there's 2 videos that were provided to us during these couple weeks. One was an argument between John and Alyssa, or what was described as an argument between John and her boyfriend and Alyssa. And the other one was a video of Alyssa, I guess, making out with a boy in the house.
Wow.
Were you... Did you ask for did the subject of a video from the day of May 17th come up in that meeting?
Yes, we were told that there was video surveillance of the day she went missing, and that 8 hours of it had been reviewed. We wanted to see that video to see what we could see, what her coming home, her leaving, that was she wearing, that sort of thing.
Okay. Did you receive such a video?
No.
Did you ask for it?
Yes.
What was the response?
I believe he said he didn't have it anymore.
Now,
the only day he didn't have.
Having watched the 2 videos that you were provided, why would you have liked to have had the one from the day she went missing?
The videos we were provided showed that there was internal camera and an external camera. So the internal camera appeared to be in a vent in the living room area, which is the main thoroughfare of the house. In the video, you could see, and there was sound to it. Theoretically, that video would show her coming home with her father on the day she went missing, him leaving, her leaving, but we didn't have that. The other angle of the camera covered the carport area, so it covered the main thoroughfares of the house.
Did you inquire in this particular meeting if there was a recording of this phone call from California?
I didn't personally ask that. Detective Anderson did.
All righty. How long were you at the house that day?
It was a very brief meeting. We were probably there 15 minutes, 20 minutes at most.
Now, did you go back to the neighborhood after that date?
Yes, we did a canvass of the neighborhood, which is basically it's a search for witnesses, for people who have information. So since we were in the neighborhood, as a courtesy, we stopped by the Turney house to let them know we would be in the neighborhood and handing out flyers and talking to people.
Okay. Did he invite you in?
No, he met us at the door.
Did he say anything to you as you were leaving?
He said he wanted a resolution to this by November, or he would be taking some kind of legal action.
Excuse me?
So you did a canvass of the neighborhood. Describe what that is.
A canvass is we send a team of detectives. I think we had about 12 detectives who had missing person bulletins. And basically you knock on every door in the neighborhood looking for witnesses, if people might have information, people who might have known Alyssa, We actually did 2 canvasses in this case. We did a canvas in that neighborhood and then a previous neighborhood that she used to live at on Villa Rita.
We're in Arizona.
And were those, both of those done in 2008, you know, or?
Yes.
Had such a canvas of the neighborhood been done previously after May 17th, 2001?
Not that I'm aware of.
So in fairness, canvassing the neighborhood some 7 years later, one might assume that you're not going to get as much information as you might have 7 years ago.
That's correct, yeah. People's memories fade, people move from the neighborhood and all that, but we wanted to make sure we exhausted any possible witnesses that might be out there if they still had information.
We're coming up on our lunch
Judge,
break, which is where we end for the day.
I know we needed to address some issues. I think we could address some of them now. But
okay.
The other thing I need to do is I've not learned how to use this. I think there's a CD player here, and I haven't learned how to use that yet.
If only we had the old reel-to-reel, I'd be comfortable in the courtroom, Judge.
CDs I need to be able to play.
Okay. So we'll send the jury to lunch. We'll ask you to be back at 1:15 since we're breaking for lunch a little early. You can leave everything in the courtroom if you'd like. Please remember the admonition. Have a nice lunch. Jury's now excused.
Okay, they're going to take a few things. While they do this, let me just say, the way we follow this trial, because this is Arizona, they're taking lunch. It's 2:45 in the afternoon. There was another cough from the prosecutor. 2:45 in the afternoon here. We follow the morning session live, and then their afternoon will follow the following morning. That gives us something to watch in the morning between, when we start at 9 a.m. and 1:30 in the afternoon when the trial starts for us. So we're not going to catch the rest of this today, but we are going to talk about some other things as they continue, and we're going to update you with a chart so you can understand a little bit about this case in the background and who the players are. I've used all my art expertise to put this together, so let's let them handle a couple issues, and then we'll go to that. So hold tight.
Sorry, I apologize. I had neglected to think that I needed to practice on the CD player. So
let the record reflect the presence of counsel and the defendant. The jury is not present. Do you still want the witness on the witness stand, or
he can be excused?
All right. Sir, you're free to step down. We'll ask you to be back at 1:15, please.
Yeah, and Sue, if you'll wait outside, I appreciate it.
Can I leave this stuff here?
Sure. I think it'll be safe.
Bring the chart. The chart is coming. It will answer a lot of the questions you've got. Oh, he thought better of it. He's like, no, I'm taking stuff with me. I need my water. Yeah, serious. It was his water that he wanted. That's funny.
I didn't bring a lunch. I was like on mess this morning.
I didn't bring a lunch. I haven't something since this morning.
I thought that there was something we could do before lunch. Now I'm remembering you haven't watched the flash drives yet.
How long will it take me?
If you recall the PowerPoint, each clip is pretty short.
Okay. Well, why don't we just take a quick break? I'll listen to them, and then I'll come back.
Thanks.
All right. We'll take a brief recess.
This is such a mess. This guy is...
Your Honor, for me, real quick, I do believe we need to review the transcript to give the redactions, but actually we can work that out. That's fine. Never mind.
Good. Judge is off the bench. He's literally leaving the room. Ooh, he's got the key out. He has to key out. There's no escape path, no quick release. Okay, so here's where we're going to go. We've got the audio left on from the courtroom, so we're going to pick that up as soon as it comes back. But we are going to cut over to my amazing artwork and chart, which is going to help you understand. It's not a PowerPoint. It's not a PowerPoint. It's going to help you understand exactly what the relationships are in this trial. And I have to thank Tipsy Tracy, and I'm going to show Tipsy Tracy's stuff as well here in a minute. It's text based, and hers has all the information. I tried to make it a little more graphical. So this is how I learn. But here we have Barbara Stram, at least that's her married name, and Stephen Stram. This is where the family starts, or at least this is where I start to tell the story. They got married. Look at that. They share the same last name. They're clearly in love. It was wonderful. Things were great until they weren't, and they became less in love. And they split up. And when they split up, Barbara took her kids, and she had John Stram and Alyssa Stram. Oh, we crossed them off. We put Turney under there because she married a new guy. She married this Michael Turney dude, right? She fell in love with him. Everything was wonderful there. But Michael Turney came with his own baggage. Children. Did I say that out loud? He came with Rhett Turney, James Turney, and Michael Turney. And so we now have this combined family of 5 happy little children. But they wash their darks with the towels, and look what happens. Sarah Turney comes along, and Sarah is directly related to both of them. So she is the only natural child for both of these two. The rest are all from previous marriages. Okay, and so we put that together. But when Barbara, when she got married, when she found this new guy down here, he turns out we thought he was good. We thought he was good, but he has like this dark past. He has this, interesting habits. Particularly, he likes to film family members, his daughters, when they're on dates with their Jack in the Box shift manager, right? Who's 3 years older, happens to be a legal adult. She happens to be a legal juvenile. He happens to not just film them, welcome him into the house. Welcome. It's late at night. It's 10 o'clock at night. Here, come on in. And they go into the daughter's room, close the door. And then he thinks, no, this is not a good idea. As a parent, this is not a good idea to have this 20-year-old in my daughter's bedroom. She's only 17. Clearly, what we need to do is knock on the door and say, hey, you two, can't have you in the bedroom. You have to come out and sit on the couch right here where I have set up, hidden in the heat vent above the couch, looking down on it, a hidden camera, so I can watch and see what happens. Sure enough, he does. Anyway, sad thing.
Back
Barbara
on the record,
dies.
let the record show the
Barbara
presence
dies. She
of
dies of
counsel
cancer.
and the defendant. The court
anyway,
has now
this is
viewed
where we are right now.
3
This is
clips
Michael Turney.
in
Let's go back
exhibit
over here
number
with the court and
98.
see where we're at here.
2 of them are video clips. 1 is an audio clip. Mr. Imbordino.
Well, just so the record is clear, the two video clips which contain audio are part of the primetime broadcast. I did play those in my opening statement. I think we already expressed our position that based upon previous rulings in this case, that when Mr. Kionis asked him, did you molest Alyssa? The defendant's response, and I included his response denying it, but...
please let go of the microphone. I know I'm not supposed to interrupt, but please, for the love of all
because
this
of the contract and because of the rulings, that the nature of their relationship and his concern about being accused of being molested is relevant. I specifically, you've not seen the entire broadcast, so for the record, if you watch the entire broadcast, they obviously interviewed people, reviewed documents in preparation for it. So, and giving background of the case, they reference some of the claims that we've heard about that we've not been allowed to get into because they're hearsay. So I purposely avoided any of that background information. The defendant, in response to Mr. Kionis, says that's just rumors and innuendo, but Mr. Kionis did not refer to them. The defendant did. In any event, the audio clip informed counsel. It's only audio because when you watch the original broadcast, he is being interviewed while he is awaiting trial on the federal charges.
Explosives.
And at the end of the broadcast, it becomes very apparent, at least to me, it might not have been to the jurors, that he is wearing prison garb, so to speak. So I purposely did not try to play the video or show the video. Only the audio, Mr. Keonis asking him, would you be willing to talk to detectives? And the defendant says, I don't remember his exact words. Basically, I've said I'll talk to them. I don't remember exactly, but his offer to speak with them. In response to that, a phone call was made to the defendant asking to talk to him about Alyssa, and he declined to talk about Alyssa. He was in custody when they called on the federal charges. He obviously had a right to not talk to the police about the federal charges, but he just declined to talk about Alyssa, not about they weren't trying to talk to him about the bomb charges. So anyway, that's...
The judge is like, so what's your question?
So you're seeking to admit all 3 clips?
Yes, sir.
And in regard to the audio clip where he says that he would talk to detectives, were you then going to follow up with questions to a witness where they tried to interview him and he declined?
Yes.
Okay. I now understand what you're asking, and what is the defense position?
On the clip about the interview, do you want to start with that one?
Where you will start wherever you'd like.
Sure. The problem with the clip from the interview about asking Mike if he would consent to an interview is that it's essentially a backdoor way for the state to be able to comment on Mike's silence. As Mr. Imbordino stated, Mike did invoke his right to remain silent when the police reached out to him while he was in custody. The case law is very clear that even if you're in custody, even if it's for something else and the police contact you and you say you don't want to talk to them, they must honor that. Implicit in the Miranda warnings are that your silence will not be used against you. The state is trying to backdoor this in to somehow insinuate that he wasn't cooperating. They can't introduce it in their case in chief. That's defense's position.
All right, and then what is the defense position?
Wait. Turn off the mic. This is where she gets another little tip. He helps her out a ton on the logistics. Listen to her argument now. Listen to how succinct it's going to be.
And Judge, I believe that Mr. Imbordino also sent over Judge Ryan Tuhill's ruling to you as well. And in her ruling, her ruling was that the state could not comment on, or essentially that they could only talk about pre-Miranda statements or cooperation with the police. Mr. Turney was Mirandized in 2008 after he was arrested subsequent to the search warrant. He unequivocally invoked his right to counsel at that moment, and then again he invokes his right to remain silent. It's inappropriate.
And then what is your position in regard to the 2 video clips?
The other 2020 clip where he's asking him about molest, again, defense objects to that. I mean, we objected on the record when it was played. However, the problem with that clip is that it specifically references rumors. Those rumors were limited out for a reason, because they're hearsay. And it's, frankly, 404B evidence, a back way of getting in 404B evidence without having to go through the procedural requirements of presenting that to a jury. The problem is also in that interview, the host asked him, now there are rumors that you molested Alyssa. Did you molest her? Like, those are from his very mouth. It's not just from his mouth. So the problem is, it's not just a question, did you molest Alyssa? It's speaking about the rumors, the exact acts which were limited out in this case.
All right, and then do you have a position on the 3rd clip, which is asking why the tapes don't, why didn't you provide any video of the day she disappeared or recordings? I think
Yeah,
that was...
we didn't get that one.
Mr. Imbordino, wasn't that the second video clip?
It was in the PowerPoint.
What? It wasn't in your PowerPoint. There was only 2 clips in your PowerPoint.
That's what he's talking about. It's in the PowerPoint. They've been provided a copy of the primetime broadcast. So,
Okay, but we don't.
I guess
Yeah, we're not sure which clip that is, so
rejecting
we'll
or not,
watch
I'm
it.
confused
Yeah.
on what. I'm confused on what they're asking this time.
Watch the video clip. It's only a minute long.
So I'm going to go ahead and show the whole picture of our chart here. If you missed this earlier, this is the explanation of the family. So you might be able to. Here, let me. Sorry, it's got this overlay. Is that too small? Let me actually switch to a different view. Hold tight. We're going to go over here, say cancel, like that, and we'll take it again. And then I'll hide me. So now you can get your screenshot. That's everything that I have so far.
I think it's number one. I think it's the clip that's numbered number one.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm back.
No,
Let's
not
switch
that
back
one.
over here.
Oh, yeah, it is that one.
Oh, that's the one.
Where's the wheelchair? Is the wheelchair gone? Did he stand up?
Best chart Eva.
They're watching the interview right now. Best chart ever. Thank you, Ben Tufel. It's my only chart so far. I still have to show you the one from
I guess
from
I have an
Tipsy
objection
Tracy.
that I guess it cuts off his answer. I mean, it's basically the narrator's question instead of his answer.
It's argumentative.
It ends. So the clip is cut off before Mr. Turney answers the question. So that entire clip is mostly the narrator testifying. So I would object to that because it doesn't, if the purpose is his answer, then play the answer. And I don't know what that clip is, if there's a reason why they cut that off. But this is the narrator, who's not a witness in this case, testifying. So I would object to this.
Yes.
All right. So, Mr. Imbordino, I'll give you the last word. Go ahead.
thank you. Well, if they want to play more of the broadcast, they're welcome to do it. They have a copy.
That's a poor defense.
You've listened to or viewed the video. Mr. Keonis does not refer to rumors. The defendant does. That evidence has been ruled admissible by Judge Ryan Toohill. As to the, so let me put this in perspective. It's correct that after the search warrant in 2008, they asked to talk with the defendant about Alyssa. He invoked. This broadcast is in 2009, a year later, approximately. The defendant, as the court well knows, somebody can invoke, but once time passes, you have a right to attempt to talk to them again. They can invoke again if they wish. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. So almost a year had passed. Not only that, it's the defendant who is initiating it. He is saying, I will talk to them.
The police?
They're not the ones that initiated this attempted conversation. The defendant offered to do it. They followed up on that. He declined.
All right. So as to the audio clip, which is the defendant offering to talk to detectives, the court's going to sustain the objection on that one. It's either directly an invocation of his Miranda right or about as close as you can get. And so I'm ruling that one is not admissible. The clip about the defendant not providing tapes, the clip about the tapes, I think it's numbered as number one. I find that is admissible if the defendant believes it's incomplete and wants to provide a more complete version. You can absolutely make that request. But at least for purposes of what the state is asking, I find that clip is admissible. The second clip that was Mr. Turney denying any molestation. We've talked about this several times, and I've made my ruling several times. Judge Toohill did definitely address that the nature of their relationship was admissible. I have already ruled that the defendant denying molesting Alyssa is admissible. The only reason that molestation is in the case is because it's part of the contract that he created. So if it was anything other than him denying molesting, this would be a different conversation and a different ruling. But I have considered the probative value and the danger of unfair prejudice. I'm going to allow the admission of the 2 video clips with the understanding the defense may ask to admit a longer, more complete video clip, and the audio clip is inadmissible. Any questions about the court's ruling?
The state does not have any, no.
All right. Anything else we can talk about before we break for lunch?
I hadn't addressed the Exhibit 91 yet.
The phone call?
Phone call.
We have to go through that.
When you say we have to go through that, do you mean you're not ready to argue it yet?
I'm ready to discuss
okay.
that. That's
Sorry.
the phone call with Lynette and Alyssa.
Another one. Never mind. Sorry.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Imbardino, you're going to seek to admit a recording, an audio recording of a phone conversation between Alyssa and her aunt.
Correct.
All right. And what is the objection?
It's hearsay, Your Honor. It's not close in time. There's no exceptions. They're just trying to get her statements out and Lynette's statements out.
All right. And what is the state's response to that?
Basically, the same response I gave earlier for the same kind of phone call.
He argues so poorly.
There is a discussion, well, you heard it, so there's a discussion that about the relationship between Alyssa and her father, and Lynette is, I think, telling her, you can always call me. So quite frankly, I'm not sure why they're objecting to it. I mean, they want everyone to believe that she ran away to California. But again, I think it goes to her state of mind at the time. They're obviously talking.
And Mr. Imbardino, what was the time? I don't know that I know when that call was made.
We don't know.
Yeah, well, we don't have an exact time because these recordings were not, they were on a cassette tape, which didn't have, dates of the individual calls, which is found in the defendant's possession during the search warrant.
Okay.
He's going to side with the state on this one because they can't prove their relevance with the time.
I'm going to think about that one. My only first of all, I agree with the state that I'm not sure why the defense is objecting. The call seems to support the defense theory of the case.
But if you
hold on. You don't have to answer that.
No, but because it actually is something that is derogatory that's brought up in there that makes there's a allegation of racism and that because the person was black. I mean, there's a lot of things that makes it highly prejudicial and more prejudicial than probative. And it's hearsay.
I agree with Mr. Imbardino that the call does have Alyssa talking about her relationship with her father. For that reason, the court would be inclined to admit it, but because we don't know the time frame, I'm unsure. And Mr. Imbardino, is it your position that we're never going to know the time frame?
We'll never know.
It is an edited version of this phone call. Eventually, the defendant gets on the line and talks to Aunt Lynette. It's about an hour and a half long. I'll have to look at the transcript again to see if anything that he says during that part of the conversation, because they talk about a lot of things not really relevant to this particular case. They're more about problems the defendant is having. So that's why I edited it. I'll see if I can find some reference that gives us a clue. I will let you know.
All right. Well, my rulings up to this point have tried to limit the evidence regarding their relationship to at or near the time she disappeared, and I intend to be consistent. So until the state can give me some additional information as to the time frame, I'm going to deny admission, subject to the request being re-urged if you have additional information.
Thank you.
Anything else before we break for lunch?
No, Your Honor. No.
All right. We'll see you at 1:15.
It seems small. It seems trivial that these little pieces are getting excluded, but just realize this is all the state has. They have nothing. Zero, zilch, zip, nada. They don't have anything else in this trial. They have no hard evidence. They have no smoking gun. They have no video that's just going to prove anything. That everything that could have proven it is missing or is just, it's not there. Nobody saw anything. Nobody knows anything. Nobody's alleging that, hey, I saw this happen or this video exists. The video that from the day in question on the 17th, every single day, going back years, they have video from every day, and that day the video is missing. The defendant says, yeah, I have that video. He told them, I've reviewed it, he tells them. And then they say, we'd like a copy. And he says, oh, I don't have it anymore. It's gone. By the way, there was nothing on it. You couldn't see anything. Suspicious? Yes, but they don't have any evidence. I realize it's similar to BK in a little ways, because with Brian Koberger, as he's going about his business, there's a time that he turns off his phone, right? And as we get into that case later here in the fall, if it goes forward the way it's supposed to, that's going to be very important. So we look at the timeline and when he was there, when he left his apartment, when he turned off his phone, and then when he turned it back on. That's sort of what we have here. We have a father who video records everything that happens. There's security camera footage, there's phone call recordings of everything, except for the key moments where something big happened, and those are missing. That is as close to the get as a smoking gun and for evidence. Everything else, all the allegations that are brought up, everything's getting struck down. The judge is ruling that not admissible, with the exception of what he says is the contract, and that's a contract that the defendant had his daughter sign, saying that no, this never occurred. And so it's not an accusation saying it did occur, but it's sort of like reverse. He has her sign this saying it didn't occur, so that people wonder, and now people are wondering, well, maybe it did, or else why would you have her sign this, right? What happened to her real father? I don't know if what happened in the divorce or died or something. I obviously in my little graphical representation that we put up here, I show that for some reason their heart was torn apart. The marriage was no longer. I don't know if it's because he passed away or because they fell out of love, whatever. And a million different things could have happened there, but then she married Michael Turney. She brought 2 kids, he brought 3. Then they had a third child together. That's Sarah. We heard from Sarah already. A lot of the video and things that we've heard about in the news leading up to this trial that we've expected to be admitted were not admitted. They did not bring it up. And so I don't know what the state is going to do. How are they going to sum this all up at the end in their closing statements and say, we proved this element, this element, this element? They haven't. All they've done is they've introduced us to family members and friends and shown us that they had a teenage daughter who went missing, and she seemed to be pretty normal for a teenager. So as creepy as Michael Turney appears to me, and as much as the radar goes off, I don't know how they can get a conviction on this one at all. Anyway, let's see. For those that missed it, this was our little diagram that shows the family. Let's see, way up here. Can you see my mouse? No, only I can see the mouse for some reason. That's funny. Okay. All right, so way up there in the top left-hand corner, that's the Barbara and Stephen, the marriage that produced John and Alyssa. Alyssa was the victim in this case, the daughter that's missing. They were separated, divorced. The marriage ended through death, whatever it is. She remarried Michael Turney. He's the one with the big shadow in the background. That's how I've depicted him, because he's got a little bit of a creep factor to him. Then, far top right-hand corner, Barbara dies. Rest in peace, Barbara. She passed away from cancer. In the middle, the Jack in the Box bag, that was the depiction of Alyssa with her short-term boyfriend, the manager from Jack in the Box that came over, dropped her off at the house, and moved right on into the bedroom and then onto the couch. And we have video there, and I'm not sure why there weren't charges from that. But then the children there on the bottom. We've got on the far left John and Alyssa. They're called Turney now because all the children were adopted. Like the two children from her previous marriage were adopted. So everybody has the name Turney, even though they were Stroms, I think was the name. But they were all adopted. So we have John, Alyssa, Rhett, James, Michael, and Sarah. Not necessarily in that order. I don't know where the age group. Well, I do because Tipsy Tracy showed me. But let me pull this up. Actually, let me show you Tipsy Tracy's version, which probably makes much more sense than my attempt to graphically display it. Let's go back over here for a minute. Let's see. Let's bring in this one here. Where's a good one? Right there. Okay, we're going to go to MP2. All right, so here's our breakdown, and I know this is a little bit small, but I'm going to read this to you. This is from Tipsy Tracy, who is a genealogist. This is her skills are linking families together to show who's related to who. But in the top, it shows that the parents that are involved on this trial. Oops. Just like that, I made it go away. The parents that are involved are Barbara Turney, who's the biological mother of Alyssa, Stephen Strom, who's the biological father of Alyssa, Michael Turney, who is the adopted father. So we have those three. The fire truck is driving by, honking the horn. So then we have Michael Turney, who's the father. He was born in 1948. He's the biological father of sons Rhett, James, and Michael. And he's the adopted father of John and Alyssa. And then we'll get to Sarah here at the end. Barbara Lee Farner Strom Turney is the mother. She has passed away. She passed away at the age of 34 in 1993. She's the biological mother of John and daughter Alyssa. And she's stepmother to Brett, James, and Michael. Then Rhett C. Turney is a brother, born in 1971. He's the biological son of Michael Turney, the stepson of Barbara Turney, and the adopted brother of Alyssa. James T. Turney is the brother. He's already testified as well. He was the second brother to testify, born in 1974. He's the biological son of Michael Turney, the stepson of Barbara Turney, and the adopted brother of Alyssa. Then another Michael, is it Mike Carl? S. Turney? Is that a typo? I'm not sure. I said Michael. Born in 1975, biological son of Michael Turney, stepson of Barbara Turney, and adopted brother of Alyssa. Then John Allen Turney is the biological brother. He was the first brother to testify. Born in 1977. That would put him about like 45 or so, I think. Biological son of Stephen Stram and Barbara Turney, adopted son of Michael Turney, biological brother of Alyssa. And Alyssa Marie Turney, she's the one who's missing, born in 1984, biological daughter of Stephen Strom and Barbara Turney, adopted daughter of Michael Turney, biological sister of John Turney, and adopted sister of Rhett, James, and Michael Turney. And last but not least, Sarah Elizabeth Turney. She's the podcaster, the sister, the younger sister. She was born in 1988. She's the biological daughter of Michael Turney and Barbara Turney, half-sister of Rhett, James, Michael, John, and Alyssa Turney. Whew! And that's why I'm not a genealogist. That's a lot to go into. But thank you very much, Tipsy Tracy, for sending that in and for putting it together with all the data. I could not have made my graphical chart without your data. Brandy, yeah, she's got to watch out. I'm rapidly approaching her skill in making charts. It'll never happen. It will never happen. It is super confusing. I think for me the chart here is a little bit better, where we can at least graphically just see how it splits up. I need to get rid of this here. Just one second. The far left on the bottom, you've got John and Alyssa. They came to the marriage through Barbara, and their dad Stephen is no longer in the picture. Then Michael Turney brought his three sons, and then together Barbara and Michael had Sarah. So that's the take. Any questions? Any questions? I'm going to see if I can put this together in a doodly video makes a little more sense. It might be a standalone video. How old was Sarah when her mother died? Let's see. Sarah was born. That's a great question. She was born in 1988. Her mother died in 1993. So she was 5. Is that right? 5 or 6, right around there. if I did my math right. And it's higher math. Brain is starting to hurt. We're going to be done with the math for today. Yes, and everyone's telling me I should have watermarked my chart. No, nobody's going to steal that. Nobody's going to steal it. Shadow Monster is awesome. It just helps me see who's who on the chart. Did I draw the figures? I love them. I wish I had that much artistic ability. No, I used Canva to help me out, but I searched for them myself, which was difficult. Has Stephen had anything to say about this? Stephen did not testify yet, I don't think, right? Let's see, Stephen. Oh, Stephen, the dad. I don't know if he's alive. Honestly, I don't know where he's at. I have not heard. That would be the biological father of Alyssa, and we'll have to ask some questions. 4 years old, I think they said once. Stephen has been in court. Says just me. Okay, that's gonna be interesting. You must copyright your masterpiece. I actually think it's cool. I'm going to improve on it a little bit. We might have to add the cough counter or some symbol representing the cough, as well as possibly a ferret. He's in the courtroom. He had to sign away his rights for the kids to be adopted. So it must have been a divorce then. Where is Turney's ex-wife, mom to his 3 boys? Don't know where that one is either. That's also something that I haven't heard the detail on. Need a poster in your merchandising. Yeah, we might have to, when it's all done, we'll make a stick figure poster representing the case and see if maybe we can fit it on a shirt. Let's see. Steven Stram has been in court every day and believes he's guilty, says Amber. That buffer sound is something available only to the mods. That's the dial-up sound you heard in the background that alerts me to something I missed. Amber is one of our great document hounds. Thank you so much for that update. Speaking of document hounds and speaking of documents, we are still awaiting, just barely refreshing, I just checked the Orange County Clerk Court Records site from Florida. For Sarah Boone, case number 2020 CF 002603OA. Sorry, I missed those two. And we still don't have the letter from Sarah Boone. But we heard from the judge there is a new letter, and we were waiting anxiously for that. If you want to hear that letter, it's my goal to be the first channel on the internet to bring you that letter in its entirety. We are trying to be very first on that. I'm ready to go at any moment. If it drops at any moment, I just have to hit a button. We'll go live and bring it to you. So ring the bell, turn on the notifications, and if you want to hear Sarah Boone's, what is it, sixth letter, it's going to be good. We need the cash cow in the corner of your masterpiece as well. Cash cow is going to feature on some merchandise soon. This is great. If you ever need a cash cow, you can get one yourself. I think it's !cow in chat. We'll point you to a link, which I'm not trying to force everyone to do it, but today is, I think it's also Prime Day. Is Prime Day 2 days now? It was like yesterday and today. But if you go to the cash cow link, and let's see, can somebody put the cash cow link up for me? Let's see, I think there we go. Greeners did it. If you go to the cash cow link on YouTube, there it is, right there. Feeling utterly stressed out, that one. If you click on that and go to Amazon, anything you buy after you click on this, it doesn't cost you any more, but it does give a very, very tiny referral reward back to the channel, which if you're going to buy something on Amazon but have absolutely zero desire to support the channel for any reason, first of all, thank you for being here. But that would be a way you can support the channel, by just shopping on Amazon after viewing that cash cow and going somewhere else. And it's Prime Day, so I'll just put that out there. Okay, what is another buffer? Let's see. It will be letter number 9. Have there been that many letters? Oh my goodness! I'm scrolling through here. There's so many letters. Anyway, we're going to go over all the letters. Probably because I'm just putting it out there right now. Sarah Boone is not going to go forward on the 24th of July. As much as it says that right now, I know in the court recorder or the court docket shows that there's a hearing, trial begins 7/24. It's not going to happen. They don't even have the experts report yet. The prosecution doesn't. The defense doesn't. Prosecution needs that so they can find their own expert to counter that evidence. It's just going to take more time. Sarah Boone's trial is slated for the 24th of July. I don't think it's going to happen. Do you get to see what we buy? I don't think so, unless you ship it to my house. Let's see. And I don't get to see who does it either. I just get like a summary report. I can't wait for the Boone chart breaking down all the players. It's going to be good. Only 17 cash cows left. They have been a hot commodity. I will warn you that the over-squeezing the cash cow could be an utter disaster. And a milk catastrophe it could occur. It happened and got all over Mrs. R.A. Sarah Boone letter has been delayed, but not intentionally. Perry Mason, you hit the nail on the head with that one. Any minute now, they're expecting to drop that, and we will go live with it. We'll interrupt whatever we're doing to bring that to you. Okay, let's see. Did you draw this yourself? I assembled it myself. I wish I could claim that artistic ability that is clearly present in that drawing, but no, I did not. All right, we're going to drop right here. The court is in lunch break, and as I explained before, because of the time frame, because they're West Coast, I think they're on Pacific time, and here we are on the East Coast. It really causes problems for us as we try to follow the trial. Most of us are used to watching just during day business hours, and this pushes us into 7, 8 p.m. at night before they get wrapped up, and it also gives us all morning with nothing to do. So we're going to watch tonight's or this afternoon's live stream tomorrow morning, and they do not have court on Friday, so we're going to be able to catch up. We won't have to wait all weekend for whatever was going to happen on Thursday afternoon. We'll have that Friday morning, and otherwise they're not going to have any court. So we'll get caught up. We'll never have a weekend where you're not caught up and just tempted to watch it yourself. Let's see. So glad I sent you the cash cow. Look what I started. Amber, it's awesome. Your cash cow, the original, was a lot of fun. This is actually a replacement. This is Mupak, who was a replacement to cash cow. Looks very similar, but this one has a pink udder where the other one was losing paint. How do you use the link? I tried, but then signed in. Help. If you use any of the Amazon affiliate links that are shared on the channel, and anything that I share that points to Amazon is an affiliate link, then like a cash cow, you just click on the link and go to Amazon, and then anything you buy, it doesn't cost any more. It's the same price. It's just some of the money that Amazon would have collected as profit, they in turn turn around and share to me. Like if you bought a cash cow, I think they would give me 3 cents. That's about the that's about the amount. It's very small, but it can add up, and it's very much appreciated. I can assure you, the ladies on Discord would have told us, possibly you mean other Sarah Boone letter. Right. There's no letter yet since this last hearing. The last hearing is where the judge said there's another letter, and it has not posted yet. The last one we have was it posted on 6/6/2023. Or no. 5/18, I think, is when it posted. Correspondence 2. Oh yeah, 5/18. So 9 a.m. start in the morning. Yes, we're back on a regular schedule, and we'll pick up with what is continued in court this afternoon. Any more questions? Oh, sweatshirt. It's hard to think of making hoodies and sweatshirts right now, as it's 91 degrees outside, and yes, 91 degrees inside as well. I've got a fan going on, and you can probably hear it. Eventually we'll have our AC fixed, and it'll all be good. Please help with my Amazon question, says Debbie. Let's see, what was your question? You were just saying it doesn't work. If you click on the link and you go to Amazon, it's worked. That's it. I don't think they're going to publish Sarah's letter. I think the correspondence on 6/6 is what that's about. Sarah didn't want her letters published. Sarah doesn't have a say in this, Misty. This is the fun thing. Florida is the sunshine state, meaning that they shine light on everything that happens. And if you write the judge a letter, it is a public document. If you write the governor a letter, it doesn't matter what it's about. It's a public document. and anyone using a FOIA request can access that. And it just so happens to be that the court, using this process, instead of using FOIA requests and having people request and then fill it up and take out the time to do that, they just publish everything and they post it out there. So we have the entire docket for all the years that Sarah Boone has been in jail. Everything is in there. And we can access that through the Orange County Clerk of Court record. So Sarah doesn't have a say in this. I know she didn't want the camera to be there when she was arrested. That's also public record. It's public document. Maggie G says, your channel is part of the reason I'm starting to study stenography, court reporting next month. So thanks. That is awesome, Maggie. That is really cool. It takes a special skill set to be able to do that. A very quick mind and accurate fingers. So I hope you do well at that. At what point do they have to try Sarah Boone seriously? Chandra, this is an issue. The judge is very aware of that. Sarah is saying, please, I want my day in court. What's the delay? I think legally she's okay legally they're okay because she waived her right to a speedy trial. Now, she says she didn't waive anything. But there's a document that either her lawyer signed on her behalf or she signed. I think she would have had to give the go-ahead, and so that lawyer must say, Sarah told me it was okay to do this. But at one point, she waived her right to a speedy trial, and it was the year she was arrested, I think early fall, October or something like that. Let's see. Brandy has an interview with Mark and Heidi tonight. That's awesome. We can't miss that. We'll have to pop over there and watch that for sure. See, poor REA, it's hot everywhere, but under the lights it's at least 10 degrees hotter. This is the hottest room in the house, Mrs. RA. You're right. Every other room is much cooler, but here I am under three bright glow lights and then a couple screens, and all of these machines have fans that are trying to cool the machines down, and I'm sitting in the midst of them, sweating. But it's fun. I love it. Okay, 95 in Texas. That is hot. I suggest moving. At that point, that's really hot. I know you guys love Texas, and you won't move, but at some point, consider your life. Do I sign in and then hit the link? You can. You can hit the link and then sign in. It's fine. It doesn't matter which way. Amazon tracks everything you do. They're like Google. They know who you are. If you look at say you pull up Amazon and you get sidetracked with magnets, like refrigerator magnets, and you look at it for like 30 seconds, they know that you looked at it for 30 seconds. And next time you join and jump on Amazon, there's a slightly higher chance that magnets might appear somewhere on the screen of, hey, you might also be interested in this. They are so good at tracking that. Don't worry about that. If you do click the link and buy the cow, obviously we will get a kickback as part of the Amazon referral program. Another issue, why can't Sarah convince the audience herself? If she can't convince them, then why would she expect expert to convince them? Testify, Sarah. She will. Bitfinex. I think I bet somebody, and I don't remember who I made the bet with to, but I bet a mug. I bet one of our recovery addict mugs that she will testify in court against her lawyer's best wishes. Hot water, my favorite. But I'm sure she wants to be the first, second, and third witness in her defense. You don't have to buy the cow. You don't have to buy anything. Jackie, just being here is enough. Thank you very much. Can you send the link for Sarah? Laura, are you talking about the court records link? Okay, let me post this again. I posted it earlier, I think on the previous live stream. I'll send this one more time. That's right here on the bottom of the screen. If it goes up, if it works anyway. There we go. So this link that's scrolling up a little bit fast, this is the link to the Orange County Clerk of Courts in Florida. And if you click that link, it will take you straight to a page. You want to click on record search if it's not already on there. You type in the first name, Sarah, S-A-R-A-H. Type in the last name, Boone, B-O-O-N-E, and then just skip all the rest. Go down to the bottom and click I'm Not a Robot. You might have to answer some little graphical puzzle like, crosswalks in the picture or traffic lights or motorcycles or something like that. But once you've successfully convinced the robot that you are not the robot, you can click the search button. It's going to bring up all the answers with Sarah Boone. The second one that comes up on that report, the case number 2020 CF 002603AO, is State of Florida versus Sarah Boone. Just click on that blue case number on number 2. and then it will open up the docket. This will have everything in her case file, and you can scroll through the docket events with the most recent being up at the top. So it'll have the 7/24 date of her trial as the top item on the docket, because that's the most recent thing that's scheduled. I think instead of the cow, I'm going to spend that money on another mug for my collection. That's awesome, Nancy. Appreciate that. I don't think we need a new unit, Lacey. I think we need to just get the one we have working. And it was the timing of the AC going out with the same time that I took a lot of vacation, and then the YouTube strike was less than beneficial for it. So we'll get there. Don't worry. Can we get the mug in purple, Tammy? If you can find a source for a nice, high quality 15+ ounce mug that looks like this in purple, that would be great. You guys, we are all right. We'll survive. We're good. I appreciate your concern. If the only thing I have to complain about in life, honestly, is that it's hot in the house, I am so blessed. I have so much to be grateful for. All my kids are healthy again. So the sickness that they were dealing with is over. I have a house. You know, we have a car, and my son has a car that he can drive. The Airbnb is going well. Just life is very, very good. I get, honestly, near the top of my list, other than the fact that, you know, my family's right there up the top. I get to do something I love every single day, which is I can't understate how awesome that is. I've never been able to do this before in my life, but something I love, I get to do every single day. I get spicy maple bourbon pickles occasionally. Just life is good. So thank you. I appreciate that. Last year, a lot of AC parts were back ordered. These are fairly newer units. We've replaced both of them within the last, well, both have been replaced. One right before we bought the house, and one a couple of years ago. So I think the units are good. They just need, heavy demand, and something broke. Put our pillows in the freezer on scorching nights. We do a fan in the window, and that seems to help. Mrs. R.A., is there anything I missed before I wrap up? Anything you'd like me to share, say, or divulge? My husband found 4 jars of spicy maple bourbon pickles in his coworker's car yesterday. Did he confiscate them, Ashley? 4 is over the personal consumption limit. So you're going to have to take those for your own safety. How was the play? The play was fantastic. I'll let Miss Homeschool Ground Zero, Mrs. R.A., tell you her version as well before we close out. But the play was amazing. It was really neat. It was a lot of fun. Run through the sprinklers, cool off. We did get home at like 2 a.m. last night. It's been a rough night. I've had this emergency bottle. I've had the emergency bottle of Mountain Dew sitting here this whole time. Here it is. It's not cold anymore. It's warm, which is no good. Had I started dozing off, I would be cracked that open. We are done for the day. We're going to pick up with the rest of court when they get back from lunch, and we're going to have that tomorrow morning before court begins. So we will catch up with them tomorrow morning. Let's see. Notice supplemental witnesses. Let me just check that. I see it. Provisional witness list. I'm not seeing the list. I think that was the request from the prosecution to get the records, but I'm not seeing the rest. We'll keep our eye on that, and Document Hounds as well. If you see that, please contact me via the burner phone. Appreciate it. Tonight, when you go home, please hug the people you love, smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better, and please stay safe till we go live again. It'll be tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Brandy's interview with Mark and Heidi tonight. Make sure you go over to her channel, turn on the bell, ring that, so we can watch that as well. You guys are amazing. Have yourself a fantastic, fantastic evening. We'll see you in the morning. Bye-bye.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Because he's the guy.